I used to think love could conquer any storm, even the kind that left us scraping by on ramen and hope. We shared a tiny apartment filled with second-hand furniture, but it felt like home because of her smile and the way she'd curl up next to me after a long day. I worked 2 jobs, pouring every penny into our dreams of something better, convinced our bond would carry us through. She saw it differently as time wore on. The bills piled up and so did her doubts. One rainy evening she sat me down with tears in her eyes and said she needed more than promises. "I love you," she whispered, "but I can't keep living like this." The breakup hit like a freight train. She packed her bags and left with barely a backward glance, chasing a life that sparkled with security. I heard through mutual friends that she started dating a guy from the upscale side of town, someone with a corner office and a bank account that could buy the stability she craved. It stung deep, knowing she picked his wallet over the heart we'd built together. For months, I drowned in what-ifs. Why wasn't I enough? I threw myself into work, grinding harder than ever, determined to prove to myself that I could rise without her. Little did I know, fate had a twisted sense of humor in store. Then came the call that flipped everything. Whispers turned into shocking details about her new life, tangled in secrets she never saw coming. Life doesn't always reward the choices we make, and sometimes it slaps back harder than we expect. What happened next changed how I viewed love, loss, and that fine line between luck and karma. Stick around, because this story isn't just about heartbreak, it's about the wild turns that remind us who's really in control. Our simple life together, love that started strong. Looking back, our early days felt pure and real. We built something special on trust and shared dreams without a single worry about money getting in the way. Those moments shaped who we were, and they make the pain of what came later hit even harder. How we met and fell in love. It all began on a sunny afternoon in the local park. I sat on a bench sketching ideas for my next job hunt when she walked by with a book tucked under her arm. She tripped over a root and I jumped up to help. Our eyes met, and just like that, sparks flew. From there, we couldn't stop talking. We discovered we both loved long walks through the green paths, breathing in the fresh air while chatting about everything. She'd share her hopes for a cozy home someday, and I'd tell her about my plans to start a small business. Those conversations stretched late into the night, often over cheap coffee at a corner diner. What made our connection so strong was its honesty. No fancy dates or gifts clouded our time together. We bonded over simple joys like laughing at silly jokes or planning adventures on a shoestring budget. In those days, our love grew from the heart, not from what we owned. It felt unbreakable, a foundation built on real care and mutual support. That authenticity drew us closer every day. We dreamed big, picturing a future where our efforts paid off. Little did I know, those pure beginnings would contrast sharply with the choices she'd make down the road. Daily struggles we faced hand in hand. Living on next to nothing tested us, but we tackled it as a team. Rent ate up most of my paycheck from the warehouse job, so we budgeted tightly for groceries and basics. Every dollar counted, from splitting a loaf of bread to skipping extras like eating out. Unexpected bills popped up often, like when the car broke down right before payday. We'd sit at our rickety kitchen table, crunching numbers and brainstorming fixes. She never complained. Instead, she rolled up her sleeves and joined the fight. One time stands out for its mix of stress and laughter. Our fridge died in the middle of summer, leaving milk sour and food spoiling fast. I panicked about the cost of a new one, but she grabbed a cooler and ice from the corner store. We turned it into a game, picnicking on the floor with what we could save, telling stories until we laughed through the worry. By week's end, we scraped together enough from odd jobs to buy a used fridge. That small win showed our grit. We leaned on each other, turning tough spots into proof of our strength. Those challenges built our resilience. We celebrated tiny victories like paying a bill on time with hugs and quiet pride. Poverty tried to pull us apart, but our support kept us glued. Looking back, I see how those days forged a love that money couldn't touch, at least not then. The day she walked away, choosing wealth over us. That rainy evening still haunts me. She sat across from me at our worn kitchen table, her eyes avoiding mine as she twisted a napkin in her hands. The words she spoke next tore through our life like a storm ripping up roots. I never saw it coming, but once she said them, nothing felt the same. The words that shattered my world. "You're a good man," she said, her voice barely above a whisper, "but love doesn't pay bills." Those words hung in the air, sharp and final. I stared at her, my heart pounding, searching for some sign that she didn't mean it. But she did. She stood up, grabbed her coat, and walked out the door without another look. The silence that followed crushed me. Our tiny apartment, once full of her laughter and our shared plans, turned empty and cold. I sat there for hours, replaying her words in my head. Why couldn't our love be enough? I felt small, like all my efforts meant nothing. Guilt washed over me. I blamed myself for the long hours at low-paying jobs, for not giving her the comfort she deserved. Nights blurred into days of doubt. I questioned every choice, every promise I made. Was I too broke to deserve her? That inadequacy gnawed at me, making simple tasks feel impossible. Friends tried to pull me out, but the sting of rejection kept me isolated. I wondered if I'd ever shake the feeling that I failed her, failed us. Watching her go with someone new. A week later, I saw her for the last time. She pulled up outside our building in a sleek black car that screamed money, the kind I'd only seen in magazines. The man behind the wheel stepped out, tall and polished, in a crisp gray suit that fit him like it cost a fortune. He carried a bouquet of red roses wrapped in silk, and a small gift box that probably held jewelry I could never afford. She climbed into the passenger seat, her face lit up in a way I hadn't seen in months. No tears, no hesitation. As the car pulled away, she glanced back once, our eyes meeting through the rain-streaked window. That look said it all. She chose this life over ours. His world of luxury contrasted so sharply with mine. Where I offered heartfelt talks and shared struggles, he brought ease and excess. I stood on the sidewalk, soaked and numb, watching the taillights fade into the distance. The simple life we built, with its thrift store finds and home-cooked meals, suddenly felt like a shadow. Jealousy mixed with hurt as I pictured her in his high-rise apartment, sipping wine from crystal glasses. How could she trade our real connection for that flash? It drove home the gap between us, leaving me to pick up the pieces alone. Rebuilding after heartbreak, my slow climb up. After she left, I hit rock bottom. The apartment felt like a ghost town, echoing with memories of us. I spent days staring at the ceiling, replaying every argument and every laugh. But somewhere in that mess a spark ignited. I realized wallowing wouldn't fix anything. It was time to build myself back up, one step at a time. This climb wasn't easy, but it taught me more about strength than any relationship ever could. Nights of doubt and first steps forward. Those first weeks crushed me. I woke up in the middle of the night, heart racing, convinced I'd never feel whole again. Doubt crept in like fog, whispering that I wasn't worth loving because I couldn't provide. Friends noticed my silence and dragged me out for coffee, but I barely spoke. The pain felt too raw, too personal. One night, after tossing and turning for hours, I sat up and grabbed my laptop. Enough was enough. I searched for ways to change my path. Self-improvement sounded cheesy at first, but it clicked. I enrolled in an online course on digital marketing that night. It cost little, just time and effort, but it gave me a goal. Mornings became study sessions, learning skills I could use to boost my warehouse job or find something better. Networking came next, though it terrified me. I joined a local group for young professionals on social media. At first I lurked, reading posts about career tips and job shares. Then I forced myself to comment, sharing my sketches from the park days that hinted at creative ideas. One reply led to a coffee meetup with a guy in sales. He didn't offer a job, but his stories lit a fire. I started reaching out weekly, building connections that felt real, not forced. These steps pulled me from the edge. Doubt still lingered, but action drowned it out. I pictured myself climbing a steep hill, each course or chat a foothold. Slowly the nights grew shorter and hope peeked through. Small victories that built momentum. Change didn't happen overnight, but small wins stacked up like bricks in a wall. My first big one came 3 months in. At work, I pitched an idea to organize inventory smarter using what I'd learned from those courses. The boss liked it. We tested it on a small scale and it cut errors by half. He called me into his office and handed me a promotion to supervisor with a raise that covered rent without stress. That moment hit hard. I walked out grinning, confidence surging like a wave. For the first time since she left, I felt capable. No longer the guy scraping by. I proved I could lead and solve problems. It restored something deep inside, a belief that my efforts mattered. Then came the project that sealed it. A friend from networking connected me with a startup needing freelance marketing help. I took the gig, creating social posts based on my training. They loved the results and paid well enough for a decent couch to replace our old one. Each check deposited felt like validation. I celebrated alone with a beer, toasting to the man I was becoming. These victories snowballed. Confidence grew with every nod of approval or new contact. I started dressing sharper, holding my head higher. What began as survival turned into real progress. Looking back, those moments remind me heartbreak breaks you open, but the pieces can form something stronger. Her glittering new world, what she gained and lost. She stepped into a life that looked perfect from the outside. Social media painted pictures of glamour and ease, the kind that made our old struggles seem like a distant memory. I couldn't help but scroll through her posts sometimes, feeling a mix of envy and sadness. She traded our heartfelt chaos for this shiny new reality, but even gold can hide sharp edges. Let's break down what drew her in and the first hints that not all sparkled as bright. The highs of luxury and status. At first glance, her new world offered everything our simple life lacked. She posted photos from lavish dinners at rooftop spots overlooking the city, dressed in outfits that screamed high-end labels. Think flowing silk dresses from brands like Chanel or Gucci, paired with heels that clicked on marble floors. No more thrift store hunts, she had closets full of clothes that fit like they were made just for her. Exclusive events pulled her deeper into that circle. She attended galas with celebrities and influencers, sipping champagne from flutes that probably cost more than our monthly rent. One post showed her at a private yacht party, wind in her hair, surrounded by people who talked deals and vacations as if they were everyday things. Who wouldn't want that escape from scraping by? It made sense in a heartbreaking way. After years of tight budgets, this felt like freedom. The status boost hit hard too. Friends commented on her glow, calling her lucky to land in such comfort. She shared stories of weekend getaways to beach resorts complete with spa days and personal chefs. Cars upgraded from our beat-up sedan to sleek models with leather seats and sunroofs. Even small perks like reservations at sold-out restaurants or front-row seats at concerts added up to a life of yeses instead of nos. Yet that pull came at a cost we couldn't see then. She chased the thrill of belonging the way those experiences filled the voids money once created. It painted her choice as human, not heartless but tragic all the same. Our love had depth, hers now had dazzle, and dazzle can blind you to the fall. Cracks in the perfect picture. As months passed, subtle shifts appeared in her updates. Photos that once burst with energy started to show her eyes a bit shadowed, like sleep evaded her. One snapshot from a fancy brunch caught her smiling, but lines of fatigue creased her forehead, hidden under layers of makeup. She looked polished, sure, but not as rested as before. Posts grew less frequent too. Where she used to flood feeds with daily highlights, now weeks slipped by without a word. Friends messaged her in comments asking if everything stayed okay, but replies came short and vague. "All good here," she'd type, followed by a heart emoji that felt forced. Little details nagged at me when I checked. A story from a late-night event showed empty glasses piling up, her laugh sounding louder than usual, almost strained. No more close-ups of joyful moments, shots pulled back, keeping distance. It hinted at something off, like a painting starting to peel at the edges. I wondered if the glamour wore thin under the surface. Did the endless parties leave her hollow? Those cracks whispered of trouble brewing. Pulling at the seams of her perfect setup. Life's twists often hide in plain sight, waiting to unravel what seems solid. The dark turn when life's plans unraveled. Just when I thought I'd put the past behind me, news started trickling in about her new world. It began with small talks among old friends, but soon those chats turned into something heavier. Her choice for wealth pulled her into shadows she never expected, and I watched from afar as the cracks widened into a chasm. Whispers of secrets coming to light. Friends reached out one by one, their voices low on the phone like they shared a secret. They mentioned odd stories about the man she left with, tales that painted him in a bad light. People said he built his fortune on shady deals, cutting corners in business that bordered on fraud. I heard details that chilled me. He worked with groups no one trusted, associates who showed up at night in dark cars and vanished by dawn. Rumors flew about missing money from his companies, funds that disappeared into thin air. One friend swore he saw the guy at a private club, talking in hushed tones with men who looked more like enforcers than partners. These whispers grew louder over weeks. Posts online hinted at investigations, vague reports of audits gone wrong. She stayed quiet on social media, but others filled the gaps. They talked of late-night arguments in their high-rise, doors slamming and voices raised. I pictured her caught in that web, her sparkle fading as the truth seeped out. The talk built to a peak when someone close to her circle let slip about strange trips. He took her to remote spots, places tied to old money and older secrets. Then came the silence. No more photos, no updates. Friends wondered if she knew too much, if those mysterious ties swallowed her up. It all pointed to one fear: her disappearance wasn't random, it tied straight to his dark past. The moment I learned she was gone. The call came on a quiet Tuesday morning, my coffee still steaming on the counter. It was our mutual friend, her voice shaky as she broke the news. "She's gone," she said flat out. "No one knows where, police are involved now." I froze, mug halfway to my lips, the world tilting. Gone, the woman who walked away from me for a better life vanished into nothing. My mind raced back to those rumors, connecting dots I wished stayed scattered. I sank into a chair, staring at the wall, a knot twisting in my gut. Stunned doesn't cover it. I felt the weight of fate's cruel joke, how she chased security only to lose everything. Why her, why now? I thought of our old days, simple and safe, and wondered if she'd trade it all back. That moment hit me hard, a reminder that life flips scripts without warning. Her choice led here and mine kept me standing, but the shock lingered like a shadow. Lessons from the pain, what true wealth really means. Looking back on that mess of a breakup, I see it clear now. Pain strips you down to basics and shows what counts. True wealth isn't stacks of cash or shiny cars, it's the quiet strength you build inside, the kind that carries you through storms. Her leaving forced me to face that truth head-on, and it shifted everything for me. Why losing her was my biggest win. That split wrecked me at first, but it cracked open doors I never noticed before. Without her pulling away for money, I poured all my energy into my own path. I landed that promotion at work, then the freelance gigs that turned into steady income. Each step built my skills and banked real confidence, the type that comes from proving yourself, not from handouts. Her fate tells a different story, one that stings with irony. She chased the fast life with that guy only to vanish into his shadows. Whispers of his shady world swallowed her up, leaving nothing but questions. While I climbed out of the dirt on my own terms, she lost her footing in a chase for quick gold. Losing her freed me to chase what lasts, like solid goals and inner peace that no one can take. Think of it like this: she jumped on a speeding train for the view, but it derailed. I walked a slower road, steady in mind, reaching spots just as high without the crash. That contrast hit me hard when the news broke. My win wasn't revenge, it was realizing self-worth beats borrowed shine every time. I stand taller now, not because of luck, but because the pain taught me to value my own grind. Advice for anyone facing similar heartache. If you're nursing a fresh wound like I did, know this: you can turn it around. Start by locking eyes on your goals, write them down, break them into small bites, and tackle one each day. That focus pulls you forward when everything screams to quit. Surround yourself with people who lift you, not drain you. Ditch the doubters, grab coffee with friends who cheer your wins, big or small. They remind you of your worth when doubt creeps in. One chat with a real supporter once shifted my whole outlook, making the climb feel less lonely. Keep it simple too. Hit the gym or take a walk to clear your head. Movement shakes off the fog. Read stories from folks who have bounced back, or journal your thoughts to spot patterns. These steps build momentum without overwhelming you. You've got the power to rewrite your story just like I did. Hang in there, the ache fades and what's left is stronger you. Our story started with simple love in tough times. We shared dreams and laughs despite empty pockets. Then she left for a life of shine and ease. It broke me, left me questioning everything. But I picked up the pieces, built skills, and climbed on my own. Each step healed the hurt and proved my worth. Her path took dark turns. She chased wealth that hid secrets and danger. Whispers of shady deals led to her sudden vanishing. Life's twist showed how fragile that glitter really is. What felt like my deepest loss turned into quiet protection. It kept me from the shadows she stepped into. True gold lies in the strength you grow inside, not the flash that fades fast. As the old saying goes, all that glitters is not gold. Sometimes it's just a trap waiting to snap shut. If this hits home, drop your own story in the comments. We've all faced those wild turns. Share how you turned pain into power. Your words might spark hope for someone else reading tonight.